Hello everyone, I'm Ash. Welcome to EchPlays. This is Lethis Path of Progress, everyone. This game is pretty lovely. That would probably be the adjective I would use. It's lovely. And I will show you that. Okay, great. Let's get started. So Path of Progress, otherwise known as Lethis, is a city management game. It's a little bit different than a lot of city management games are coming out. It's less like Sim City and more like something like Cleopatra, or even some games you're probably familiar with from like a Facebook game point of view, but better, a lot better actually. So I've done the tutorial. As you can see, I've unlocked all these. I've done them to teach myself how to play the game. I recommend anybody who plays the game to go through them because they're really fun actually, and you learn quite a lot. And the game has a lot to it. It seems simple at first, but it is not that simple actually. So campaign is what we're going to be doing here on EchPlays. I'm going to try to get through the entire campaign on the channel and hope that things goes well. I streamed the tutorial and I'll be doing the campaign on YouTube, so should be good. Sandbox is also an option, but it's fun and all. But I think we're going to do the campaign because the campaign is actually a lot of fun. Normally in city builders I just go with the sandbox, but I actually really enjoy the campaign in Lethis. So let's do this. So Fedheim rather. So it gives you objectives, and once we finish this, it'll probably bring up another thing for us to do, and it'll just go through all the chapters. Fedheim is a 120 by 120 area, and it gives us two objectives: have 1,200 workers in level 8 housing, and have 4,000 units of meat as tribute to the Emperor. And those are our two objectives. Once we finish those objectives, it'll be done, and we can move on to the next chapter. This guy, Mr. Ellington, what a pleasure to meet you. How are you? I have excellent news. As you might have heard, Professor Alstrom's inventions are essential. Condensed steam as a source of energy. Yet, this also may lead to a rural exodus. Big cities are going to pop up just as fey mushrooms. A focus on agriculture and steady food supply will become important issues. It is your task to tackle these problems. All eyes are on you. Succeed, and the empires will reward you forcefully. Archibald Ellington, that's me, apparently, is one of the best urbanists in all of Lethis, and he risks his career with this task. He is to swiftly build a city with strong focus on agriculture in the high provinces to prevent a local famine. Wilhelm IV, Emperor of Lethis, chose Fedheim for this task, a large, fertile area south of the Empire's capital city, Starenhall. There are no geysers to be found in the area, yet you can provide your workers with copper via trade. Okay, so we hit play, knowing that we're going to be starting with a nice plot of land. As you can see, the graphics are very unique and interesting. Sort of floating in an area on some sort of square platform, has like gears in it and shit. It's pretty awesome. So we could build near the mountain, but it should be noted that we can't really knock these down. So you want to give yourself some space. The brown bit is fertile land, so you want to have it near them so you can put your farms on them, because you can't place farms on the green parts because doesn't count, I guess. I guess you might be able to, I'm not sure. But you cannot place it on this, for sure. Okay, so let's give ourselves some room. We want to start building houses, okay? So we're going to build... Actually, let's build like this. Let's go ahead and build this way. We'll put 6, maybe 5, actually. And then we give them a space, right? And we give them a space and put 5 more. And then we put road in. And road is super important in this game. I accidentally did that wrong, but it's super important in this game because everything you do is pretty much based on pathing. And they will travel around these routes you've put in based on the road, and that's how efficient they will be. And the reason we have a gap in between these two is because we want to have room to place decoration, because sometimes houses will not level up, and we need level 8 houses based on the objectives, unless they have beautiful surroundings, and you have to put like parks and trees and stuff there. So you always want to have room around your houses for at least some sort of decoration, because a lot of the houses will randomly say these inhabitants of this house will not level up until you get them something beautiful to look at, which is kind of stupid. I don't like it. I don't like that they force you to do that, because it makes you sort of build your places a little bit inefficiently, but it's one of those challenges, so it still makes it a little bit more interesting, I think. So we have houses going. The next thing we need to do is give these houses the essential life essence of water. Okay, so we're going to build a water bit here, a nice well, and this thing is going to use 6 employees. And it's going to start gathering water and taking it around to the places. And because these things say this building needs access to a well, as soon as this water dude passes by the house, water supplier, these houses look, boop, 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 boop. It went from a bunch of tents to a steampunk trailer park. So everybody's just going to be going around, hillbillying it up with steampunk gears and shit. It's going to be fantastic. And now we have level 2 houses. And what happens is, every time your house levels up, the resident number goes up as well. That means that the house can hold, whenever, at level 1 it can hold 3 people, and now it holds 6. That means every time they level up, it's going to be an influx of new people coming in to live in them. So we now have a higher population, which is great because we're going to need those populations for our farms that we're about to build. So we're going to give it a nice little short road, and then we're going to make some farms, right? So we'll do that, and then we'll add even more houses. Add some more houses over here along that road. And we're going to build farms now. So we go to the food tab, and we click on this, and then we click on wheat, because we don't have any potatoes or whatever yet. So we're going to build 1 farm to start. And the farms don't need water. All they need is employees, and they'll be good to go. So you give them 1 farm to begin with, and you can probably survive if you give them 2 as well. But it will stretch your population a little bit thin and force you to sort of expand a little bit faster than you might want to. So once this water person gets around here, it'll start covering also these houses. And we'll have an even higher population, just exponentially growing every time we do this. So these dudes want food. So the way we provide food is we're going to start with the wheat. The wheat will grow and be harvested, as you can see by the gauge here. And now we need some place to keep the wheat. So what we need is a granary. And the granary will keep the keep the wheat. Let's put it right here. Okay, this is where they'll store the wheat. So they'll bring the wheat from the farms after the harvest is done, which will happen when this thing fills up. And it will put it into the granary. And then from the granary, you want it to turn into bread for the food. So in order to do that, we need 2 buildings. We need a windmill, which looks amazing. Look at this thing. Fantastic. And what else? We need a windmill, which we're going to put back here. And a bakery, which will then... So the windmill is going to turn the wheat into flour. Okay, the windmill is going to turn that into flour. And actually what we needed to do is start putting some roadblocks down. And I'll explain why in a sec. So we put a roadblock there, put a roadblock there. We'll even put a temporary roadblock here. Okay, now also, before we forget, and this is almost a critical error by me, we need to place some of these maintenance shacks. So we're going to put a maintenance bit here, and one over here as well. Okay, so the maintenance shacks will keep these things built. So it's going to be repairing the well. This one will repair the buildings on this area. And you can sort of look at this button here. If you click this button, you can sort of see a lot of stuff. So, for instance, steam. If we had buildings that needed steam and we clicked on this, they would show up in green, or they would be highlighted a certain color. For instance, if I click on, if I turn this off, and I click on this, and then I click on water up here, the well, it sort of shows me that this well is connected to this road, and it should be efficiently green. And that sort of shows you how efficiently it's going to be delivering to certain things. Meanwhile, if I go ahead and click off of that, Unfortunately, not all of this stuff is covered. Like if I click on this one, maintenance is covered. As you can see, maintenance sort of shows you, and it sort of gives you an idea of what the roadblocks actually do. So you can't, these dudes, so for instance the maintenance thing, it only has so much distance it can cover alone. And so you're trying to limit it so it doesn't just waste its time going up like this street here. It would just waste its time because there's not anything on that street for it to repair. Meanwhile, also, this maintenance person would maybe try to come over here and try to share repair duties. Meanwhile, maybe missing a house or something over here because it has to go so far. It wastes all of its stamina doing some maintenance that somebody else is already doing. So you want to have it sort of broken into sections so you can efficiently keep everything repaired, keep everything watered, etc. So we have the basically we have the residential area sort of cut off from the other areas so that we have two modular sections that are being covered by two different sets of maintenance, two different sets of water, etc. Because if we were to share, there's no way this one maintenance guy would be able to repair all of this, then go over here in time and repair all of this as well. You'd have buildings falling over left and right for sure. And that sort of goes with a lot of the stuff actually. And it doesn't, the roadblocks don't block everything, because you want to, for instance, you want, once the bread is done, for the bread to be able to pass through the roadblocks and somehow get over here. So not everything is blocked off by the roadblocks, but a lot of it is. And we're going to have to remember to remove this roadblock eventually, because at some point we're going to add another farm and some other buildings over on this side, but for now we're going to leave them the way they are. Alright, so let's turn this off.